Sure do fight a lot of dragoons.
I don't see any more.
Nor do I. The plan worked.
It did. It bloody worked. We sent every last one of the rotten bastards straight to the mud! Lord. Perhaps this will be enough to stop the Cullings. For the time being, at least.
Perhaps. Though I doubt my mother will take this loss well. She'll move swiftly to see her minions' ranks replenished.
And then it will all begin again. I often wonder if the nation we once knew is gone for good. Her fields rot. Her people starve. We battled to preserve the flame that was, but for every foe we fell, another springs up in its place. Yet be that as it may, it is still our home, and we must fight for it. As we always have, and always will. For as long as the Firebird's flame burns in our hearts, the Duchy cannot die. And her loyal subjects may dream of a day when the Rosarian standard flies over Rosalith once more.
So wait,
Think we should fall back to Port Isolde before the garrison sends reinforcements? A sound strategy, my lord.
And how long has my uncle been funding you and your comrades' endeavors?
Since the beginning. Lord Byron was the first person I turned to after forming the Guardians. And had I known of this tunnel back then, I wouldn't almost have been hanged by the city guard for trying to sneak over the wall.
I suppose a formal request for an audience would have appeared suspicious.
And appearances must be maintained. Were the Vice-Regency to catch wind of Lord Byron's involvement in our movement, they'd seize his estate and send him to the gallows, where he would be of no use to anyone. And so, though it sickens him to the soul, he plays the part of the loyal lord, knowing that one wrong move might prove his downfall. It is why he remains ever vigilant. Don't be surprised if he refuses you an audience, especially since you're famously dead.
Then I will have to think of a way to prove that I am neither wraith nor wrongdoer.
I might have something which could help with the latter. It's the mark of the Guardians. Display it, and those who love Rosaria will know where your loyalties lie.
I shall wear it with pride.
Be sure that you do. I don't want my men attacking you again. Unless you deserve it. If only Sir Tyler could have been here to see you. Or the Lord Commander.
Thank you, Sir Wade. If there is ever anything you need.
I know. Go on now, my lord.
How accommodating. Do you really think they believe we are who we say we are?
Not a chance. Right, I guess. My uncle believes we're imposters here to rob him. And means to string us up himself.
Imagine my surprise when I was told my nephew had come to visit. Clive Rosfield died long ago. And for uttering his name here, you shall pay with your tongue! You would mock me as well?
It is I, Sir Crandall of Camelot, loyal servant to Her Serene Holiness, Saint Sybil the Unshod. Meadow, thou vile sorcerer, for thy crimes against church and crown, I shall have thy head.
Curse thee, infectious flax wench. Even in death, must thou plague me still? Very well. I shall open the gates of hell, that thou might see thy charge once more.
Bravo, Uncle. You're still the finest Meadow in the twins.
Oh, Clive, my dear boy, it's really you. You always were fond of that scene from The Saint in the Sanctuary. Never did let me play Sir Crandall.
I have a favor to ask, Uncle Byron.
Rutherford, inform the kitchens. There'll be guests. We dine immediately.
But, Uncle...
You can't very well regale me with the tale of your miraculous preservation on an empty stomach. Go on, sit. See that you use the good plates, Rutherford. So you arrived late to one of her cullings, did you? Since becoming Vicereine, Annabella has been a constant thorn in Rosaria's side, but these atrocities are a new low. Something has changed. Quite what, I don't know, but the woman we knew is gone, and a monster sits in her place.
A monster.
For better or worse, I've been charged with governing this town, and thus must maintain the illusion of obedience. That's all I can do to aid Wade and his merry band of revolutionaries.
So he's told us. You have risked much for Rosaria. Our nation will be forever in your debt.
It has been 20 years, Clive. The nation your father and your forefathers fought to defend is no more. Perhaps it would be otherwise had I the courage of my brother. All right, if it's a ship you require, a ship you shall have. I've a galley in port, but recently relieved of her cargo. She can be outfitted for the voyage in a matter of weeks.
So you believe us then? About everything?
Believe you? Ha! Only a fool would believe even half of the things you claim. But until tonight, only a fool would have believed my nephew still lived. And besides, I have it on good authority that Clive is telling the truth.
Whose authority?
Your own, of course. You've always been a terrible liar.
Is that true?
It's not untrue.
Let's say no more about it, eh? It wouldn't do to linger on my nephew's greatest failing. The one thing I cannot believe, though, is all this about you being Sid. You were always such a good boy, but now you're quite the outlaw. Which, if I'm not mistaken, would make me an outlaw's uncle. Right then, who shall we pillage first? Rutherford, fetch me my cutlass. This will be fun.
Over there. Go on.
She's a fine ship, isn't she?
Once outfitted, she'll bear us across the boiling sea to Drustinus in the space of 3 days.
Something on your mind?
Monsters. When I served the Iron Kingdom, I did so because I saw no other choice. Because once they learned that the lash would not move me, they turned it on those who could. And so I became their puppet. I let them pull my strings, telling myself it was not my hand that swung the sword, but another's. I removed myself from the truth so I wouldn't feel the pain it caused. And before I knew it, I no longer felt anything. Anything at all. I had become a monster.
Jill.
I don't want to be a monster, Clive. Do you understand? I want to choose a different path, a better path. To live on my own terms. But before I can do that, I need to come to terms with my past.
And when you do, I'll be standing there with you, just as you stood with me.
Thank you, Clive. I must atone for my sins. Only then, when it's done, will the monster cease to be.
Just promise me that you won't die with it. Now, let's get some sleep. The journey back to Benamir is long, and there is much to tell the others.
Some new side quests pop up.
Only
the Founder knows what awaits us in the Iron Kingdom. But Vivian could probably make an educated guess.
A sea voyage this time, is it? I can lend you an oilskin if you're looking to keep the salt off your back.
Typical nobles, cowering behind.
How did we never hear about these Guardians of the Flame?
Same way they never heard about us, I expect.
A part of me thought Drake's head might be the last crystal we ever cracked. But I'm glad I was wrong.
Clive! Quick look. Always something in there.
Welcome to the Patron's Whisper. Come to claim your just desserts? Come again. I may have more for you.
Back again, Lord Rosfield. I'm touched that you should find me such good company.
It is not your company, but your counsel that I seek on this occasion.
Ever the charmer. What will it be today, then?
The Iron Kingdom. I need to know what to expect.
You'll soon be setting sail for Drake's Breath, then, I take it. The mother crystal that rises from the boiling sea. There was a time when a true-blooded Rosarian had only to brave the waves to visit it. But then the Ironblood made their move. As you know, the Iron Kingdom rules over the islands to the west of Storm. Or rather, its church does. But this is not the pragmatic approach to state religion employed by the Holy Empire to manipulate the masses. No, the Iron Kingdom is the literal embodiment of the crystalline orthodoxy. And so, if one is to understand it, one must start there. As the name implies, the orthodoxy holds the mother crystals sacred, and they do not take kindly to heathens plundering the objects of their worship for the means to fill washtubs and light lamps with frivolous feats of magic. Indeed, the faithful consider ether a sinful thing, a poison no less. And to them, a dominant is an instrument of evil, albeit one they have proven only too happy to turn against their enemies. Some 80 years ago, in Northern Storm, Drake's eye collapsed. Soon after, in pursuit of ether and with the blight at their backs, the Northern Territories descended upon the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. And when the Shields of the Flame marched north to meet them, the Iron Kingdom spied an opportunity. A few short days later, the Crusaders landed on the island of Mount Drastanus, home of Drake's Breath, and plucked it from the Duchy's grasp. Rosaria tried to reclaim it, of course, but to no avail. I doubt more than a handful of Duchy men have set foot on its shores in your lifetime. Nor are they like to again, under the Empire's stewardship, meaning the Iron Blood will keep their island, and with it, the foothold they need to march on mainland soil when next they spy an opportunity. The Mother Crystal is both the object of the Iron Blood's worship and their gateway to the continent, making Drustinus the holiest of holy grounds, from which the Orthodox Crusade shall one day sail forth to claim the remaining Mother Crystals, or die trying.
My father and my grandfather both traded blows with the Iron Blood for control of Drek's breath. Had things unfolded differently at Phoenix Gate, we would have sent our entire fleet against them.
But instead, they sent their fleet against Rosaria, sacked the capital, killed the men, and captured the women, including Jill. I'd say you'd be forgiven for wanting a little revenge, Clive.
My only aim is to destroy the Mother Crystal. But thank you all the same. Not much else to do here. Let's see if Jill's ready.
And how may I assist you today? Here's the latest information I have. Here you are. Study it well, Clive. The state of the realm is ever-changing, Clive.
How did we never hear about these guardians?
There are new billets being posted every day, but not enough swords to...
Clive! Oh, am I glad to see you?
Is something wrong?
It's Blackthorn. He ain't himself. And if I'm honest, he ain't been for a while. Normally it only takes a couple of drinks to perk him back up, but not this time. Something's getting him down. And whatever it is, he ain't telling. It's like he's lost his spark, you know? He's barely got enough fire in his belly to get the ump about stuff. But I'm thinking he might if we both bent his ear, because he respects you, innit? So, what do you say?
Fine. If you think it will help.
I knew you'd understand.
But if he doesn't want to talk, we let him be. He'll open up when he's ready.
All right. Now, he'll only smell a rat if we both turn up at once. So, I'll go first, and you can meet us at the forge. Wait a bit, then head over when you're ready.
Against the gloom of bygone days, do motes of flame take flight. From glowing embers, beacons blaze to see us through the night. Maeve over there's the best thing to happen to the hideaway since, well, ever. she's got a smile like sunshine, and she can pull an ale like no other.
I didn't take you for a scholar, Ivan.
Oh, this? Well, it's Valisthea, a culinary pilgrimage. I borrowed it from old tomes. Seems there's no creature in the realm so foul it can't be cooked up into something delicious.
Think I'll stick to the unfoul ones, thanks.
Oh, where's your sense of adventure, Sid? Honestly, One glance at these recipes, and even you would trade in your sword for a butcher's cleaver. From spit roasts to sweetmeats, this book has them all. What I wouldn't give to bring these recipes to life.
If it's my blessing you're hoping for, then by all means.
Well, I'm no hunter, Sid. The first ton of worm I came across would be the death of me. But you're made of sterner stuff. Would you help me resurrect one of these recipes?
Something tells me you won't be taking no for an answer. Fine, I'll help.
Fantastic! Thank you.
So, dare I ask what's on the menu?
Chance's Stew. It was once a favourite among the gourmands of Oriflamme, if the author is to be believed. Though Molly's never heard of it. The only problem is that while the recipe is extremely detailed in most respects, it's infuriatingly cryptic as to the main ingredient. A beast, no doubt. Most likely something that would make easy work of a simple cook with more broth than brawn, but unwanted violets. I've no idea what they might be.
Does the book say anything else?
Well, only that the sweetest violets sprout atop the bed of roses.
Roses. Rosaria, perhaps? One of the butchers in Martha's Rest might know something. I'll ask next time I'm there.
Nothing but unwanted violets will do, if I'm to resurrect this stew. As to what they might be, as you say, that is a question for a butcher.
I think it's those monsters, those fire monsters that'll work for it.
I could have sworn we had a few more.
There are new billets being posted every day, but not enough swords to see to them.
Long time no see, Clive. What are you doing? You meant to talk to him, not me.
First August, and now you. What are you pair up to? What's it got to do with me?
August was worried that something had been weighing on your mind. I thought you might want to talk about it.
Did you now? I told you not to stick your nose in my business. What'd you go and do?
Clive just wants to help, innit? What's so bad about that? Talk to him. You never know, you might feel better for getting it all out in the open. Please, mate. I'm worried about you.
Phil shut you up. It's nothing really. Stupid. Not the sort of thing you bother people about.
Why don't you tell us all the same?
Karen and I have an arrangement. I keep an eye on Goots, and she shows me what the competition's up to. Interesting arms and armor, things like that. Anyway, the other day, she shows me a cuirass she's come by. Masterpiece of level work. Light, supple, and tougher than it had any right to be. Made my stuff look like heavy, clumsy shit. I should have brought the bastard thing there and then just to study it, but I was too proud. And now every time I reach for my hammer, I'm reminded that I'm not the craftsman I thought I was. There. You happy? You got what you came for? Now piss off.
All right. We're going. I always thought of old Blackthorn as a bit of a force of nature. like a storm cloud full of ale. Didn't think anything could rattle him. Least of all a stupid piece of leather.
Blackthorn's always taken pride in his craft. Questioning it means questioning himself. Something tells me this is only going to get worse. If he has doubts, it will affect his work, which will only add to his problems. We need to nip this in the bud.
I couldn't agree more.
He said he should have bought that cuirass. Perhaps we should track it down for him. Assuming you're happy to help, that is.
Too bloody right I am.
Glad to hear it. First things first, then. We need to speak to Karen.
So, we find a cuirass, give it to Blackthorn, then he works out how to make it and goes back to being his surly old self, right? Simple.
That monster's taken quite a liking to Lady Karen.
He's not a monster. He's Torgal. And he'd take a liking to you too if you gave him as many nuts as Nan does.
What do you need? I always thought I could teach the best of them a thing or two about working with leather. But... oh, I've wasted enough breath talking about it. Be off with you. What do you want? That it? Fine.
Karen, do you have a moment? Blackthorn mentioned that you'd recently come by a leather cuirass. An exquisite example of the craft, from what he told us.
And he ain't been himself since he saw it. So we thought we'd buy it for him.
Sorry, sold it already. Didn't think Blackthorn cared for it the way he turned his nose up. But it was nicely put together, that's for certain. Even if the bloke who made it is a bit of an odd one. Happened across him on my travels. Makes all his stuff to order, but the fella who commissioned it refused to pay. He didn't like the colour of summit. So I took it off his hands for a fair price.
You don't know where we might find him, do you?
Like I said, he's a bit of an odd one. Doesn't even have a workshop. He don't trust hunters neither, which means he spends as much time out tracking beasties as he does working their hides.
I see.
He did tell me something, though. Apparently, his next commission's for a set of griffin hide greaves.
Here, there's a griffin on the hunt board. The curse breakers were placing bets on who'd bag it. Now, where the bleeding hell was it sighted? Somewhere in Sambrec, maybe? Care Northern, that was it.
Thank you, Karen. We'd be lost without you.
At least you admit it.
So, it sounds like going after that griffin might be the best chance we have of finding our roaming leatherworker.
I'll leave the hunting to you if you don't mind. While you get on with that, I'll ask around the markets. See if I can't sniff out who he is and where he's hiding.
Good idea. Hopefully one of us will be able to track him down.
Taken quite a liking to Lady Karen.
He's not a monster.
Well, don't just stand there gawping. Go on, then. Finished, are you?
If that leather worker's even half the craftsman Blackthorn says, someone's bound to have heard of him. I'll do a bit of poking around, see if I can't find something out. Good luck in Sambrec. And watch out for that griffin. They're nasty bastards, they are.
Did you come to borrow a book, Sid? Because you can't have this one till we've finished.
My knowledge is yours. I don't believe you've read this particular chapter before. If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it.
Byron Rosfield, younger brother of the late Archduke Elwin and warden of Port Isolde, a thriving trading port in South Rosaria. Byron inherited a small fortune from his noble family, which he built into a large one by virtue of his mercantile wiles and adventurous spirit. There is not a trading house nor a tap house in Valisthea and beyond that does not have a tale to tell of Lord Byron Rosfield. After the duchy was incorporated into the Empire and Byron stripped of his titles, he shut himself away in his manner and gladly volunteered every guild of the onerous taxes and tariffs with which he was newly burdened, all to avoid drawing the Empire's ire and to keep their intentions from his support for the Guardians of Flame. Yeah. Port Isolde, a port city situated on the southwestern coast of the imperial province of Rosaria. Only Roslith rivals it for size, and in the glory days of Archduke Elwin's reign, the streets bustled with traders from across Valisthea. Sadly, those days are long since gone, and Emperor Koi occupation has seen everything from marketplace and military institutions subverted to the will of the Empire. Nectar, the highways risen move whom Sid found trapped between fallen ruins and brought back to his deadland home, while all others hear its words as not but a succession of adorable cuckoo-like cries. Clive is not able to make sense of them, learning that the creature professes to be a mighty hero who would see the terrible fiends that have plagued the realm laid low, for which purpose it persists in drawing Clive's attention to the hunt board. That's nice. Desiree, scribe secretary for the Hideaway. Desiree is also entrusted with keeping of all donations to the cause from Clive's allies and patrons. Though she could neither read nor write when she first came to the Hideaway, Desiree labored night and day to learn her letters, and now the quill is never far from her hand. Her ever cheerful demeanor is a bright light to those who make their homes atop the blackened mere. Martel, a young bearer who assists Bohemiel in his research into growing crops in the blight soul of Sid's Highway. Alas, she was gravely wounded during Koopa's attack on their home. Though she was able to escape the wreckers with some of the saplings that were their laborers, she succumbed soon after. The trees were replanted in Clive's new highway, and apples they bore named Martel in her memory. Sir Wade, a little sheet of Rosaria. Though he was thought to have died during the attack on Fiend's Gate, he somehow survived not only the disaster but the imperial conquest that followed. He and other like-minded shields took up residence in the abandoned Lazarus and formed the Guardians of the Flame, brothers in arms who fight for the restoration of the duchy. Rutherford, manservant to Lord Byron Rosfield. His daily duties touch all aspects running his master's manor, whether that be the welcoming of guests, the preparation of meals, or the polishing of the intrepid nobleman's trophy collection. I hate Annabella. Hot, but I hate her. The Guardians of the Flame, a clandestine group of ducal loyalists who lead the rebellion against the imperial occupation of Rosaria and Empress Annabella. Many of their number are drawn from those who survived the imperial attack on Fiend's Gate in the year 860, who know full well the imperial's involvement in the duchy's fall. They make their home in the abandoned Lazarus district outside Port Isolde, from where they conduct their raids to free bearers from the imperial yoke. The 7 high houses, the highest noble houses of old Rosario, which House Rosefield is the first and foremost. They have their roots in the ruling dynasties of the small independent nations that were united upon the founding of the duchy. The houses had a prominent voice in ducal politics, but this was silenced when the region fell to the Empire and Empress Annabella took Rosario's reins. Amber, a sleepy settlement nestled among the lofty peaks of southern Rosaria. Located far from the capital, its people survive by trading what produce they can coax from the stony soil and what little else they can gather from the surrounding hills. Awful Docks, a once thriving village of shipwrights located at the south of the Talons, Rosaria's largest bay. Its people were slaughtered at the hands of the Viceroy's Black Shields after it was discovered that the Guardians of the Flame were sheltering bearers there. Damn. Buell Bridge, a bridge built in the golden days of the duchy that spans part of the bay known as the Talons and connects eastern Rosaria with the capital of Roslif. It was originally meant to be part of the Trans-Rosarian Aqueduct that would carry water to northern affected areas by the Blight, and with it, employment for local craftsmen and tradespeople. But this plan was abandoned when Archduke Elwin died. Lazarus District, an elusive walled residential area situated just outside the eastern edge of Port Isle. It was once the jewel in the city's crown and home to many of the nobles of the duchy. However, after the Empire moved its capital to the Crystalline Dominion, Port Isle was all but abandoned, and this once grand district was soon overrun with thieves and cutthroats. Hawk's Cry Cliff, a location in the southern part of the Imperial Province of Rosaria, known for its distinctive rock formations. There are myriad theories as to how the unique stratification was achieved, from natural shiftings of the earth to the clashes of bygone icons to lost fallen magics. The people who live in their shadows, however, such as those residents of the time of Amber, will merely tell you a rock is a rock. That's funny. Vice of the Imperial Province of Rosaria. While they most often march in small groups, their main host has been known to rally together to conduct large-scale raids. They're tasked with purging the impurities from the province to which they conduct cullings of both bearers and those judged to be ducal loyals. To which end they conduct cullings of both bears and those judged to be ducal loyals. Basically, Dark Knights. By the Vice Regency. The Imperial Province incorporating the lands that were once Rosaria, ruled over by Annabella, former Duchess of Rosaria. One of her first acts as viceroy was to issue a new order of knights, the Black Shields, who were dispatched to every corner of the province to maintain order. They would later come to serve as her personal army, settling her grievances against bears and ducal loyalists. Drake's Fang, one of Valithea's 5 remaining mother crystals located in the Dalmatian Republic. Unlike its sisters who jut from earth to tower above the landscape, Drake's Fang is completely enclosed within the vast hollow of an ageless mountain, its citrine fingers reaching inward to the barrel's heart. Excavation of these crystals has over centuries shadowed the Dalmax with substantial fortune, and as such is seen as a symbol of the nation's prosperity. Drake's Spine, a mother crystal located in Stonehere, capital of the Kingdom of Walode. Its sheer walls strikingly similar to the towering cliffs that line the coast of Ash. The tier can only be gained by means of a solitary stone span that stretches from the heart of the city proper. Being the last remaining mother crystal in Ash, the crystals harvested from the surface are a vital lifeline for the Walode people. But even then, their number is far from enough to sate the kingdom's appetite, thus forcing her king to seek sources elsewhere. Yeah. Drake's Tail. A mother crystal located in the Crystalline Dominion. It is one of the only 5 remaining in Valisthea, and is the largest of its kind. Shadowed by the setting sun, the islands of the Dominion spread out before it. The tail is truly a wonder to behold. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Crystalline Impasse. Conflict fought between the Holy Empire Sembrug and the Republic of Damaki in the year 878. Largely concerning control of the Crystalline Dominion, the Dominion had previously been the subject of a non-aggression pact between the Valisthean nations. But in 873, the Empire claimed Twinside for its new capital, an act which eventually spurred Dalmax into military action. Notorious marks. While failed on their expeditionary incursions, the Cursebreakers will often learn of creatures, or somewhat unsurprisingly humans, that for reasons varying from the loss of natural habitat or lack of food to overexposure to aether have begun to exhibit uncharacteristically violent behavior. Due to the threat they pose to the realm and her peaceable inhabitations, these terrors are deemed notorious marks and a bounty placed on their heads. the Saint and the Sectary, a beloved Valithea fable, wherein the good knight Sir Crandall of Camelot, servant of Saint Sybil the Unshod, does battle against the evil warlock Madu. The story was a favorite of the young Clive Rossfield, and he would often act out scenes with his uncle, the young knight naturally taking the role of Sir Crandall and his rumbustious uncle, making a convincing Madu. That's fun.
You are always welcome, Clive.
Did you come? To borrow a book, Sid?
Deadlands wouldn't be half as bad with all the bloody dust.
A flame none brighter. My Lord Marquis, I ask once again for you to forgive my men for your welcome back to the Lazarus, but certainly you can understand that you were the last person any of us were expecting to see at our gates. In the short time since our reunion, you have shown yourself to be the self-same man I followed into still when those many years ago, a true bearer of your father's legacy. If only Sir Tyler, the Lord Commander, and all others who were lost that night were still with us, see how bright your flame now burns. To you and your cause, I hereby pledge the swords of the Guardian and am proud to stand alongside you once again. Wade. All quiet in the Dominion. The Dalmex and Imperials are at a standoff. They snarl at each other, fangs bared like slum curs, but neither wants to make the first move. It's almost as if they both realize what a stinking pile of chokeable shit they've stepped in. If I were a man to lay wager, I'd put my copper on this conflict. Not playing out anytime soon. I shall keep you appraised, Gaff. He's always funny.
Could have sworn we had a few more. Typical nobles. Cowering behind.
Did I hear you say you were hoping to hunt down a griffin, Kupo? Then I do have the billet for you, Kupo, an especially horrible one. Locals call Dulcimare. While passing along trail from Lost Weeks Nova, one of our order was met with a sudden blast of wind so strong that it bent the trunks of the old oaks and heard a cry. And he ran for life. Questioning the locals revealed that this area was the nesting place of the elder griffin known as Dulcimare, a beast much hated for his appetite for both chocobos and children. Oh, hell. Where's the East Pool volunteers? Okay. Yeah.
How did we never hear about these Guardians of the Flame?
Same way they never heard about us, I expect.
Alright guys, all right for this one here. Thanks for watching. Valisthea 3 out. Peace.